Hello, hello, hello. This is Agija Elerte Dunja, and we welcome you back to JAX Sailing Team's Dolphin podcast, and this is episode 4. And today with me, I have Danny. Oh, welcome.
Bravo.
And Telmo.
Yay.
Woo. Telmo is truly rich with his achievements, and he has been third in co-ed national championships, third in match race nationals, 10th in team race nationals, first in storm tri-sail regatta with the big boats, offshore boats, and he's coming off third at Melges 15 Midwinter's first time in the boat, being first time in the boat. I mean, that's huge, Telmo. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
And also, Danny is only person to start a division in co-ed, 4 co-ed national championships. Danny has led the team to its first ever national champs. The team first ever to start all freshmen. And under Danny's leadership, the team went from 250th place in the country to the top 20. Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for putting the base out there.
I mean,
man.
like
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was fun. John did a really good job bringing in a lot of good sailors, and it was a small group to start, and it's progressed to an amazing team. So
It was actually truly impressive what y'all did. John came here, and I know you came from Rochester, right?
Yeah.
Where John was coaching at the time. And then John decided to leave and come to follow his dreams in Florida.
Yeah.
And you follow.
yeah,
And it was just amazing what you were able to do in those 4 years. And then it was so easy for us because we had such a good base that we could just excel out of there. And it was just amazing. It was a good time.
But how did it feel back in the day when you were still part of the sailing team?
Oh, it was fun. You know, it was a really good small group of people. You know, looking back, I remember being frustrated at the time because we did have a lot of those achievements, but you know, the goal was always to break into that top 20, which I think we did my senior year or maybe the year before that. But you know, then after that, start moving up the ranks, which the team did shortly after, you know, our class graduated. So that was really, really fun to watch from a young alumni standpoint. It's awesome.
In this podcast, we will do it a little bit differently than before. We will start with Telmo, and then we will move to Danny.
All right.
So, Telmo, you're from Spain. How did you end up in JU?
That's a great question. When
Hold on. When was the first time you sailed at JU? That's a
the first time I sailed at JU, I came to a practice. I was a senior. I wasn't recruited. I moved to Jacksonville, and I was looking for somewhere to sail. And John is really good letting high schoolers come out and like practice with us because there's not that many teams. Before Dustin was here and the Florida Jack Club wasn't as developed, there wasn't that many high school teams that you could join. So John has been always really good trying to grow the sport of sailing in Jacksonville. And me moving to Jacksonville, I was like, I want to keep sailing. I come from a family that they're all sailors. My father was a professional sailor. My sister was an amazing sailor. And I wish one day I can be as good as her. That's the goal, right? It's always to like, it's the little fight we have in the family. It's always like trying to push each other. And I came to Jacksonville my senior year of high school with the dream of staying in college. And John opened his arms and he was like, hey, like, if you want, like, you can come and practice with us a little bit. And, like, we can help you get better and better. And that's the first time I came to Jacksonville. It was awesome. That's a good time. I was able to sail with Danny when he was a senior. It was really, really cool.
So you were a freshman when Danny was a senior.
I was a senior when Danny was a senior.
Yeah. You were a senior in high school.
Yeah, but I only
Senior
came
in
to
college,
to 1 or 2 practices. I didn't come that much just because once John saw that I was actually able to pull some stuff that not that many seniors could do, he was like, all right, we want to recruit you, but if we want to recruit you, you are not allowed to practice with us anymore. Just some college sailing rules where you are not allowed to have recruits practice with the team. So after that happened, I started sailing with FYC a little bit more. That is the Florida Jack Club. There are some great people there, an amazing J24 fleet. And that fleet really opened their arms and they were like, hey, come on in, let's go sailing.
You told just right now that you were a senior in high school.
Uh-huh.
And which high school did you go to?
I went to...
Yeah, it was not in Spain. It was here in U.S., right?
No, so I moved to the U.S. for 8 years ago now. So I moved when I was going to go into my junior year of high school, and I went to this school called Glen Academy in Brunswick, Georgia. Beautiful school, and they had a 17. That's the only reason why I went there, and I really fall in love with the place. I was like, man, this thing, like the American dream, is real. Like I want to stay around. And we did a couple of races, and we did pretty well. And that's how I first became involved with high school sailing. And then I needed to move to a private school just for what the visa requirements are to stay in the US. So we found a school in Jacksonville called Seacoast Christian Academy. And it's a really small school in the Arlington area, Arlington Expressway. I had 19 kids in my graduating class.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and it was awesome, man. I lived the American dream.
Yeah.
I was a part of the football team. I was a part of the baseball team.
What kind of football are we talking about?
American football, man.
Oh, American
Surprisingly,
football. Oh,
yeah,
all
yeah, yeah.
Oh, wow.
The skinny guy in the football field, it was awesome. And then I also ran track for them. And believe it or not, I was prom king. So that's,
Okay.
yeah, I like took the checklist.
You had a 1 out of 19 chance, or probably 1 out of 8 chance.
Yeah, pretty much. But I went through my American Dream checklist in high
Nice.
school, and it worked really, really well. America has been treating me extremely well. So
Still
can't
here,
complain.
right? So-
Still here, still living the dream.
Back in the day when you were sailing for JAX Sailing Team, so many of your teammates were Spanish speakers. What was that like, having that bond? Because I assume in high school you didn't have that many Spanish friends.
It was awesome. I like having Alfonso on the team, having David, having Andre. It was a really, really good time. And I think you could say
Yeah.
the same, right, Danny? Like you said with Alfonso and Andre.
Yeah, I think, well, that's when all that started, right? Because I had graduated when you were a freshman, and when we were practicing team racing, I would always say in practice, stop speaking in Spanish because I don't know what you guys are saying to each other. But yeah, I think you'll test to it as a great bond for that group of the team.
Yeah, it was awesome. And actually, it was, I think the best part about all of it is, yes, we got a really good band, and they're some of my best friends, but also the relationship we had with the whole sailing team. The beauty of the JAX sailing team, and I bet it's the same in like a bunch of other sailing teams, is no one got upset because we were Spanish. No one got upset because we were talking Spanish. They were all friendly. They were all like a family. And I think that's the best way to describe the JU sailing team is how involved and how close we are. And how if someone has a problem, it doesn't matter if you speak Spanish or you speak Italian, they're going to be there for you, even if you are team racing and the only thing you do is yell at each other in Spanish. They probably give you a hard time on the water.
Oh, yeah.
But after that, they're like, come on, let's go. I try to teach some Spanish to some of my other friends, like Ian and Sam. They weren't buying it.
How to say play 2, play 1.
Yeah, pretty
Play
much.
4.
But how many of Spanish teammates did you have?
So we had around 5 at the time. So that was really good. That was really strong, especially because we had, when I became a sophomore, we had a girl, Anna, come to the team. She was from Galicia, so she was from Spain. And when she came to the team, her English wasn't like amazing. She was having a hard time like translating the parts of the boat and stuff like that. I'm telling you, Anna is the smartest girl I know. In 6 months, at that time, I've been in the US for like 3.5 years. In 6 months, her English was 100 times better than mine. I was like, man, what's happening? But it was those kind of things where someone doesn't know something, or when you don't really know the translation to something, you go to another of your Spanish buddies and you're like,
Yeah.
hey man, hey amigo, how you say this? And they go, oh, this is how you say it. So it's been a really good time. And I think the whole recruitment class that we had internationals, we had people from all over the place. We had people from Asia, we had people from the Netherlands, we had people from Brazil, Cuba, Spain, Mexico. It was awesome.
Oh, wow. That was
Yeah.
truly an international team.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
a lot of, John did a really good job with that.
Yeah.
With in your sort of era, I guess I'd call it. There was people from all over. There still is, like you, Agija, right?
Yeah. But as an international student, Telmo, an international athlete, what were some of the things that made JU special?
I think I already touched a little bit on it, is that feeling of a family away from your real family. It's that feeling that no matter what happens, there is going to be always someone there for you. So there has been times where I couldn't go home for Thanksgiving or for Christmas or summer times, or even when I graduated college and I didn't know what was going to happen, but I knew I wanted to stay in the US. People opened their house and a bunch of teammates are like, hey, come over, let me help you out. You can stay in my basement. You can I can help you find a job. I know this person that blah blah blah. I know that person that blah blah blah. So the team, we have built a bonding that is so strong that people will get away from what they want to accomplish just to help another teammate that needs something. They will do things that you never expected, like Pedro, my friend Pedro. Man, I came to the US
Hey, Joe.
2 years ago in September, didn't have a job, didn't know where I was staying, $500 in my bank account. And Pedro opened his house and was like, hey man, I don't have money. I like, and don't worry about it. Let's get you situated. And that's something that I don't believe it will have happened somewhere else. That opening, that family feeling.
But when was the last time that you actually saw your real family? When was the last time you visited Spain?
Man, this is going to get emotional.
Yes.
I haven't seen them in 2 years now.
And now, how does that feel?
It feels good because I haven't been they haven't needed to take care of me for the past 2 years. That is something that I am truly happy about, that I've been fully independent. But also it feels kind of sad because my sister had little boys and they're all growing,
Yeah.
and I am not being able to be there for them. My parents are getting old. My grandma is 96 and she still goes
Wow.
strong. It's really cool. But the not being there with them, for me that I'm really a family guy, is kind of hard, trying to follow the dreams.
Yeah.
Well, I wish you will be able to go back soon enough to see everyone and hug your sister's little baby and
Thank
give
you.
a kiss on the cheek. And Telmo, you were also a part of some momentous first moments for the team. What are your fondest memories of that?
It was awesome. It was a really, really good time. The reason why is because of how new the team was, how fresh the team was. At the time I joined the team, it had 4 years, 5 years. And we were able, my freshman year, we were like, okay, let's try to break a couple of records. And then every time we achieve a record, we celebrate it. But then after the celebrations, we always sit down, the same people that broke the record, sit down and it's like, okay, we managed this, but
What's
we
the
can
next?
manage
Yeah.
so much more. What's next? And that, I think, is one of the things that really keep us pushing, is how far can we get? And as we found out, we got pretty far. And it's pretty awesome to see it. But there is also a little of a bad taste on the back, be like, man, just if we try a little harder, just if we did this instead of that. But it was a really, really fun time. Every year we were able to break the previous year record, either in match racing or in offshore or in team race or in co-ed. And it was just more motivation to keep us running and to keep us pushing. I'm sure Danny felt the same way when he first came here, of being the 250 to being on the top 20. I'm sure every year they were breaking records and they're like, how far can we push? Or what do you think? How do you feel, Danny?
Yeah, it was sophomore and junior year. We were getting mentions. We weren't breaking the top 20, but we were getting those. We were sort of listed at the bottom in a list with 5 other colleges, like honorable mention, close to the top 20 teams. And then I think it was my, I can't remember what year it was, if it was my senior year or my junior year, because I know at junior year we did have a really good semifinals at nationals. We never broke that semis to finals when I was there, but when we got that, in the rankings, even it felt good. It
Yeah.
did. We were like, okay, so what are we gonna do next? That was what we kept asking ourselves, and it was a small group, but it was, what is the next step for us? We weren't doing a lot of team racing because we just didn't have the capacity. We didn't have the people, the personnel to do it and practice it. But so we did a lot of fleet racing, and it felt good to break into that top 20 for the fleet racing stuff. Yeah.
How did it work out? You as a team, you guys got together at a meeting and then you decided about your goals, or how did you even start making goals for the team that coaches didn't initiate? You as a sailors initiated that between yourselves, if I understand that correctly.
So this is going to sound a little bit bad because I'm a coach now, but the coaches, of course, I can say we as coaches, we have a certain type of expectations, certain type of goals that we want to achieve. And we tell the students, we tell the kids, hey, this is what we want to do. This year, this is
Yeah.
our goal. As a sailor, when we were sailors, the talk was more, okay, this is what the coaches want to achieve. Now,
It was always higher, right?
what do we want to achieve? It's like
Yeah.
they want us here, we want to be here.
Yeah.
And I think that's what keep us pushing is our goals were really high and it always keep us motivated. Also, another thing I wanted to mention is the opportunity that JU give you of letting you push yourself, letting you push your teammates, letting you, let's say you wanted to do offshore because you saw a cool regatta that you wanted to do. You went to John's office and you're like, hey, John, I want to do offshore sailing. And he looks at you and is like, you kid, Telmo, you're crazy. But I don't know, but like, this is my idea. I put it on. I like explaining how we're going to do it and how we can do it. And all of a sudden, John does 3 calls and we are on a plane to New York to go sail offshore. It's just, there is things that you can do here that you can do anywhere else. And I think that's what really keep us motivated. So like wherever we wanted to do it, if we truly wanted to do it, it could happen. There was the ability to make it happen. And I think that's why we grew so fast.
Tell us more about the offshore. Like, how did it go? Like, what competitions did you go to? Why there isn't any more an offshore team? What happened?
So we did the Larchmont College Regatta. It's a regatta every, I think, November in Larchmont, so kind of cold in New York. And it's a pretty big event. I think like 100 colleges go and they divide you in different classes. They don't divide you based in your quality and your like sailing level. They divide you based on how many people you bring. So we brought, I believe, 8 people, and they put us into the J109 class. That actually was one of the hardest classes because they
They had
had
a one design class for that
it
one,
was
right?
it was awesome.
Yeah.
All J109s, and it was Coast Guard, Navy, and a couple of like schools that truly have an offshore team. And the only thing John told us is, man, if you want to go, you can go. Yes, don't make a mess at the start and have fun.
Clean starts.
Yeah, clean starts
hit
and have
anyone.
fun. Well, we got up there and we saw the boat. It was from one of our alumni. His name is Buttons. He's a great guy from
Great
upstate
guy.
New York.
Yeah, great guy.
And we are sitting there. We look at the boat. We fixed the boat a little bit. There was a couple of things we needed to tweak, but we didn't know anything about our competition. So we get there to race day. We couldn't practice on Friday because it was snooking, like it was 25 to 35. And we're like, we don't want to break the boat. That would look really, really bad for our first offshore event. And we went out there. I'm telling you, I was freaking out. I was driving the boat. And I used,
You were the skipper of the boat.
yeah, I was the skipper of the boat. Well, I like to say I was driving the boat because I am not making the calls. Other people are making the calls. I'm just like holding the wheel and hoping for the best.
I just drive the boat. You
Yeah.
guys make all the decisions.
Yeah, pretty much. And then I was so scared that I went downstairs and the starting time started. 5 minutes, 4 minutes, 3 minutes. And then I start hearing, Telmo, I'm telling you, man, if you don't come up here right now, I'm going to drive for the regatta. And I get up there, minute and a half to go. I grab the wheel. I look around. Everyone is by the race community. We're by the pen. And we are a massive lefty. So I'm like, I'm in.
We're starting at the bend.
It's meant to be. It's not where I started by the pennies. We're going to port tag.
Yeah, right. Yeah, at that point.
So we went to the pen, jive around, port tag the fleet, and just tag on top of everyone. After that, we won the first ever race, and we ended up winning the whole event. A bunch of coaches came to us, be like, hey man, who are you guys?
Yeah.
We wanted to do a couple more events for the offshore team. And going back to your question, the reason why we didn't push the offshore team as much is because we were getting so focused into team racing that we didn't have enough people on the team to do both.
Yeah.
And a bunch of the big team race regattas are also at the same time as the big offshore regattas. We got invited to different events, to different offshore events, but we didn't have the ability to send a team over there because we didn't have enough people on the team. So one of the things I've been trying lately is in town, there is a bunch of boats that need help, need people to go sail with them. And this is one of the things I really want to thank Gary Van Tassel about, is he had a Carrera 290 that it was his boat and he enjoyed going racing with. And then we made a deal my freshman year. He came to me and he's like, man, if you bring me some of your friends to go sailing and try to win the events, you can use the boat whenever you want. And we started racing that boat all around. We took it to Tampa. We won every event in town and we started traveling with the boat. And I think that's what truly really helped us enjoy the life after college. Because not a lot of people, I don't know you, and I think JU does a great job with this, but not a lot of colleges actually, their sailors, they don't keep sailing after college.
It's amazing how many people I know from other schools who they graduated and then I'm like, hey, what are you sailing now? And they're like, I'm not. And I'm working. Well, so am I, but But I think something to point out, Agija, I think, asked why there isn't, an offshore team now. Is it was really driven by Telmo. Telmo wanted to do it. He wanted to go do this event, and John and the other coaches were like, all right, let's make it happen. And it's hard now that we're coaches and we understand it, that it's a lot of bandwidth to have an offshore part of this program when we have single-handed co-ed fleet racing, women's fleet racing, and then we have team racing, now women's team racing all through this semester, and they're all in these FJs and 420s. And then this offshore thing, when you add it in, is a whole nother beast. And it's a good beast, but it's a lot. So if the team now wants to do it, you need someone like Telmo that says, I want to do this. You need a champion we will all support that because we know that it's important. That's how you learn how to sail after college. You're not gonna. I sailed in an FJ today for the first time. I had a few people ask me. I said, I think it was 2019 or 2018 the last time I sailed in an FJ.
How did it feel? Are you sore?
I'm a little sore. Yeah, yeah. The CrossFit yesterday also, didn't help, but yeah.
No, that's awesome. And touching a little bit in what you said is our goal as coaches is for our students to keep sailing after college.
Yeah.
And that's why I pushed so much when I was a student to do offshore, is because I knew some people didn't get to travel as much. And I was like, hey, let me bring those people and let me go sailing. So they see that there is other kinds of sailing out there. And the goal is for us to keep doing this. It's just we truly need someone that comes out and is like, hey, I am going to figure it out a way to make it happen. And I am not going to get a no for an answer. And the problem is a lot of people want to do it, but not a lot of people want to ask the hard questions to actually do it.
Telmo's not afraid. He'll ask all the hard questions.
I mean, what's the worst thing that can happen, right?
Exactly. They say no.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's okay. Whatever.
I tried.
Yeah.
But who were a part of the team back in the day when there was an offshore team? It was you and...
So I can start from the back or from the front. What do you prefer?
Oh.
So it was me driving, Ian Hunter trimming Jeep, Sam Baker trimming main, Grace being sail, calling tactics, Logan helping with the mast, Jared on bow, and then Steven on mast as well. Steven was super cool. He only did offshore. It was awesome. And then we had Buttons. That was the owner of the boat. That was really, really scared the first race. And then the second race, he's like,
let's go.
You guys go wherever you want. Just win the event. And then Buttons' girlfriend.
But they were all the time on the boat when you guys were sailing.
Yeah, so for these events, for the offshore events in college, because you don't own the boat, the owner of the boat or the sponsor of the boat needs to be on the boat with you, just to make sure that you truly know what's happening. And if something goes wrong, that your mentors are the people that are going to be there to help you.
And he was the boat owner too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is my boat.
Yeah, exactly.
Make sure you guys don't crash it.
Yeah, it's my boat. You can take me around the coast.
Yeah,
it's nice too.
But did something ever happen, like you guys breaking a sail or breaking a spinnaker or a ginnaker?
No, everything went pretty smoothly. I remember that the last set we were 2 points in front or 3 points in front of Coast Guard. The last set we did the spinnaker came out with a bikini,
Nice.
and our bow person and mast didn't really know what to do. So I went,
Wait, what happened?
a bikini on
So
the
yeah, explain what that
spinnaker.
is. Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
because I thought like a bikini, you know.
Yeah, so you know a bikini, right? On the middle is like twisted.
Yes.
It's the same on a kite. So
Yeah.
you
I
have
know, yeah, when it's
Hourglass is probably the more
Yeah.
common term.
yeah.
Yeah, you get an hourglass in
I'm
the.
sorry, it's this.
It's a twist in
Yeah.
the middle from top
Yeah,
to bottom. Yeah.
Thank you.
I like bikini though. That's
Yeah,
funny.
that's cool. I will
Yeah.
start using that.
Yeah.
And I went, dropped the tiller to run forward to fix it because the boat is going to keep going straight.
Yeah,
Like, it's
yeah.
not that I'm doing too much.
Right.
And then he grabbed me and he's like, no, you stay right there. Like, okay. And I just like hold the tiller, looking. And
Ah.
all of a sudden, Ian went forward, the kite popped, and we went right away for a jive just because we had a boat coming on top. The best decision that we made in the whole regatta was making that jive. Pressure field on the right side of the course. We passed the whole fleet on the downwind. It was beautiful. And then they came to do an interview on us. What was happening on that jive?
Well,
man.
actually,
We saw the path, of course.
And we went for the puff.
Yeah.
Is offshore sailing the funnest memory, the most fun memory to remember from your 4 years of college sailing, or there's something else that you remember as the most brightest moment?
So I think Danny will agree with this. Is doing so much for a team, having all these opportunities, being always growing and always getting better. It's really hard to pick the finest moment. It was just,
it's hard. Yeah.
it was the best 4 months that I could have asked for college. It was 4 years, sorry. It was just unbelievable. It was always fun. It was always pushing. I don't have a bad memory.
So
It's
many
so
good ones,
hard
right?
to choose, yeah,
Yeah.
because I could tell you being third co-ed was a great memory, but I can also tell you the first time we qualified for match racing or for team racing, it was
Yeah.
awesome too. It's like it was such a good feeling of we made it. This is awesome. That I don't know which one to
Yeah,
choose from.
I can imagine. It would take it would be a 4-hour podcast if we
Yeah.
look into each moment. But continuing, how has this team helped you grow as a person? Have you changed as a person? Has the team helped you, or?
I like to say that I came to the team as a kid with some anger issues, probably you could agree with, and I came out.
Telmo was
As-
a hothead a little bit.
Oh yeah,
At least on the water.
oh yeah, on the water, right?
Yeah.
Off the water,
Off the water.
best friends with everyone.
yeah.
On the water, different story. But I think I came in as a kid, and I would like to say that I came out as a young adult with goals in my mind, with a focus in what I wanted to do that I didn't have when I came in. So it really helped me. Talking to all the people at JU, everyone is really open-minded and everyone is here to help you. And as Danny mentioned already, I don't have a problem asking the tough questions.
No.
So asking questions that I wanted to know answers of and learning from people, I think that's the best way to describe it. Is there is such a big opportunity to learn from so many great people around here that it just opens your mind and lets you become who you want to become at the end of the day.
What was the reason why you decided to stay here at JU and coach now?
Well, because I tried corporate America for 3 months.
3 months.
Yeah, that didn't work out so well. I went and worked for UPS for 3 months, being a recruiter for them. And
Meaning UPS in
United Postal Services.
Yeah.
righty.
Shipping.
Yeah.
Yeah. UPS.
Yeah. Because I really love logistics. So I went to UPS and what's the logistics all about? And I learned a lot. But being a recruiter, you're trying to recruit people for jobs that you will not probably do.
Yeah.
So then you feel really bad about it. So I'm like, okay, I need to stop this. And then John called me and gave me this great opportunity. That's the other beauty about John is sometimes John was really tough on me. And sometimes he's still tough on me, but he truly cares about everyone in this team and he truly will do anything in his hand to make your life a little bit better. And I explained him a little bit in the situation I was. And he's like, hey, why you don't come back? I'm start coaching, we can give you housing and we can probably get you a master. I'm like, man, that actually sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
And I came here and I've been really enjoying this new journey. I think I have some great coworkers. I think working with Danny, working with Esteban, working with John has been a pleasure, and I truly enjoy it. I think the team this year is great. I think we are focused. I think we are ready to do great things.
And now, as a coach, what are your goals for the team?
Well, I still see it as a sailor myself. My truly goal, one thing that I will really, really enjoy to see, that is going to be hard. And that's why I keep pushing each one of you guys every day is I want to win a national champions. That's something I couldn't accomplish. And that's something that I would love to see from the people I am coaching.
Absolutely.
I know the level is there. I know the passion is there. We just need to sharp some things, and I think we can make it happen.
And how long do you think you want to coach here? You have such a huge goals for the team. So how long do you think you're gonna stay here?
Clock's ticking. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. It's a good question.
I don't know. I know I'm graduating next year with my master's, and the problem I have is my visa. If it wasn't a problem of the visa, I'd probably stay here for the next 3-4 years just to see it all the way through. I had a great coach called Fred Maffett. I love him to death. He's a great coach. And for some things that happen in life, he couldn't still coach anymore. But truly an amazing person. And I think what he did was incredible. He started coaching my class my freshman year. He stick for the ride the 4 years with us. And then when we all graduated, he also graduated with us. He's like, okay, this was a nice ride. I need to go. So I probably try to do something similar. And I want to make everyone accomplish what they want to accomplish. And I want to give them what they need to accomplish that.
Telmo's the next Fred. Fred came in and brought the fire. And it was good.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
That's a great time.
Telmo brings the fire.
Ooh. Team should be ready for that. If the team is listening, be ready. Telmo's bringing the fire.
Oh, they know. He gets fired up.
Yeah, no.
In a good way.
We know. But Telmo, personally, what's next for you? Not even as a coach, as you as a person. What's next for you? What are your goals?
What
dreams?
are my goals? My dreams. Do you want to hear my craziest goal?
Tell us.
Is to buy about 40 foot to 45 foot. Being able to start a business that I can run online. I want to be my own boss. I think that's key to success because you learn from the highs and you learn from the lows. So I really want to start doing that. I actually want to start a business pretty soon. I have a couple of ideas. I've been trying to start businesses with Danny for a while now, but the idea will be to buy a boat, work on my own business remotely, and being able to spend the winters in the Caribbean and the summers in the Mediterranean. And then once me and my family get used to it, try to go around the world and like in a really small pace and getting to know different cultures and different people. I think that would be pretty amazing.
That sounds pretty amazing. Yeah. Well, I wish, and I think we all wish that it will come possible to you as soon as possible.
Thank you.
As soon as you want it. Yeah.
As soon as you want it. As soon as you're ready, it will be like, bam, let's
Appreciate
go.
Thank you.
That will be incredible. Just update us, the next, when you travel all around the world, just send a picture.
You never know. I maybe become a YouTuber.
One of my best friends was always like, I just imagine like talking to you in like 10 years, never hearing from you and be like, you come back and be like, where have you been? And be like, I just sailed around the world. Like they thought it was the most crazy thing. But for us, it's like, it's a goal for a lot of people that we know. That's a thing,
100%.
Go sail around the world. Take your time, make your stops. And
I took my senior year summer. I went and did similar to that. I traveled all around the Mediterranean and the Atlantic coast of Europe. And of course, the first day of the trip, my phone went into the water.
Oh my God.
So I didn't have contact with anyone. I knew my parents' numbers. I could call them and make sure they knew I was okay. The moment I took my phone back, it was the day before I was flying to the US. So that was 2 months without talking to all my friends here.
Yeah.
These people were making bets of if I was in jail or if I die at sea. I was like, really, guys? Come on.
It's a thing. Seen it happen.
Telmo, I'm glad that you're alive and their bets didn't come true. And Danny, now we are starting to ask questions to you.
All right, let's go.
You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
After graduating JU, you stayed to coach, then you worked in the real world for 3 years, and now you are back again coaching for JAX Sailing Team. What brought you back?
It was hard after I graduated. It was getting halfway through the summer. I was coaching at Rochester Yacht Club, and I was sort of in this position where I had a job offer from someone I met through sailing. And that's one of the great things about sailing is you meet all sorts of people. And I had driven his boat around the country for him, sailed with him a bunch. And he was like, hey, you know, why don't you come work for me? And at the same time, John was like, why don't you come back to JU and coach? And I made the really hard decision and I came back and coached, and I'm glad I did. And I did that through the beginning of 2019. And that other job offer, the person they had hired when I said no, he had left, and I was, you know, looking to make a move into a career path, right? I was thinking I didn't want to coach for the rest of my life, right? And it's still it's not something I'm going to do forever. I am passionate about it and I love it. But so I took this job and it was great. Did it for 3 years, which is really what they wanted out of me. I said, let's just try it. Let's do it for a couple of years. And then, you know, we went through COVID. We went through all these crazy parts of life that everyone experienced. And I was thinking, you know, it was 2022. And I was like, I'm thinking that I want to pursue this engineering degree that I had an idea of halfway through my original degree. And at the time I was paying for school, is when I looked into doing it then, it was going to add a couple years. And I was like, you know, it's hard to afford that. So I continued on my business degree at that point. But a lot of things kind of fell into place where my wife now, at the time, my girlfriend, Julia, we were living in Newport, Rhode Island, where I had this job, and she was getting promoted to the director of undergraduate admissions here at JU. I wanted to go back to school, and it sort of was like we were being pulled back to Jacksonville, and a few things aligned. So we moved back down here, and I started taking some classes. She started her new role in the admissions office. She was working remote before that. And that's kind of what initially brought me back just to Jacksonville, back to Jacksonville University, really. So yeah, that's the beginning of it. And now coaching with the team and helping out with some other things. So
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Did they give you a hard time on the admissions to your engineer degree now, or it was a smooth ride through admissions?
I had a good, I graduated initially with a good GPA. So,
Nice.
You know, my last GPA, you know, with school was good. It was it wasn't anything crazy. I was above a 3.0, I think. So it allowed me to get right back into back into school, which was nice. Yeah.
You did communications, right?
Business. And I was in marketing.
But how did you end up in JU in the first place? Before you, there wasn't even a competitive team. Why did you choose Jacksonville?
Yeah, so I've been a sailor my whole life. My parents used to own a CNC 35, an Ideal 18, for people who know what that is. And so I grew up sailing, sort of in and out of it. And then when I was, 10, 11, I started really getting back into sailing because I learned how to sail when I was 6, as a family of sailors. And then at the Rochester Yacht Club, John was the program director there, and he also led the race program. And I just kept going down that path and really got involved with it. I was really into lacrosse. I started lacrosse in the 3rd grade, and I made a decision in 8th grade, after my 8th grade year, that I'm not going to play lacrosse the rest of my life, but I am pretty sure I will be sailing the rest of my life. So that's when I said, John had this great high school sailing program at Rochester Yacht Club where we had all these different public and private schools all came to the Rochester Yacht Club, and we had 20 420s out every practice day. And so I went down that path. Great experience doing that. And my junior year, going into so between my junior and senior year this summer, John said, I'm leaving. I just took a job at Jacksonville University. I think you should look at this school. And I said, where's Jacksonville? I had no idea. I think it's funny, but at the same time, this city is growing so fast, and it is insane what has happened since I first even knew what Jacksonville was until now. That's a whole nother discussion. But really what brought me here was John. He said, I think you should look at this school. I initially came to JU because I had no idea what I wanted to study in college. And I had taken some flight lessons when I was younger, and I really liked that. And JU, I'm pretty sure, at least at the time, from what I understood, was the only school where I could be trained to be a flight operations major, right? I basically would graduate, do some training, and become a commercial pilot, and also be able to sail on a varsity sailing team.
So there's other schools that have that now.
Yeah.
JU is definitely the best one out of the bands.
Yeah.
There is a couple in South Florida that allows you to do both.
Yeah.
But as you may
Embry-Riddle is another one, but
Yeah.
I knew that John was trying to start something big, and that really. So that's why I initially came to JU, was because I was flying and sailing, and I eventually shifted out.
What a
of that,
life.
went into business. Yeah.
What a life.
Flying is stressful.
Really?
Yeah.
Never done it, man.
It's a stressful job. I remember seeing all the studies that it's one of the most stressful jobs. I was like, oh, that can't be that bad.
Well, I heard they just press the autopilot and they just go.
I guess to answer your question, that's sort of what brought me to JU, was John starting this team. And when I came here, it was me, and I'd say like the skippers that were brought in was me, Ian Ikeda, and Peter Hidley. We had Alex Steele here already. He started in the spring, and then we had some great crews that John had recruited, Mara Strobalanka, and then we brought in, John's really good at finding great walk-ons, and that's what made up, we talked about earlier, that freshman team. It was 2 walk-on crews and Mara and the 3 skippers, and we kind of traveled as a group of 6, pretty hardcore.
So in your freshman year, the team was only 6 people.
Yeah, so I mean, we had I say that a lot, I think, to people I talk to, and I not that I hate saying that, but there was a lot of people on the team. There was, because before John came, it was a club program, so there was still a lot of people around. We probably had, at practices, best 6 to 8 boats on the water. So there was the 6 of us that traveled a lot. There was also, another 3 or 4 people that were let's say 5 to 6 people that were really involved. And then there was some, people that were just sort of in and out, for the club aspect of it. And we, JU sailing team, we don't cut people. We don't tell people they can't show up. If people want to come sailing, we let them come sailing. So it was a small group, though. I would say people that, showed commitment and showed up, I'd say it was, 12 people, somewhere around there, plus, probably a little plus, some minus.
And I think that's the truly beauty of JU, is we will not say no to anyone.
Right.
And we will bring in walk-ons that have never sailed in their whole life. They don't know what a boat is. And it has happened multiple times where these walk-ons get so involved that they become amazing crews.
Mm-hmm.
A great example is Logan. Logan transferred from...
Yeah, Logan Brickhouse.
Yeah, from another school, came down here, tried sailing one day, said, like, man, this is cool. In 2 years, she became an All-American. From not knowing what a jib was, not knowing what a main was.
Yeah.
And it's truly a beauty what we do, where we are here also to help grow the sport of sailing. There's a lot of colleges out there where if you go, they will not even let you sail. Like
You have tryouts.
On my recruitment trips, they were like, nah, you're not good enough to come here. I'm like, we were like, I want to come here. No, it's okay. And John was the only one that was like, yeah, man, we'll take you in. And all of a sudden, we're beating all the schools that told me no.
Told me no, yeah.
And I'm telling you, that feeling is so good. Yeah. But that's the beauty, is that it doesn't matter who you are, you will have a space in this team.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want it, you can have it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I'm very thankful for that as well. Our team is very open and very welcoming. When you started, Danny, you said there were approximately 6 boats on the water on your freshman year. How big was the team in your senior year?
Yeah, when I graduated, this is a rough number, but it's probably about the same as it is now. I mean, it's 30 plus people. We'd put on our roster that we had maybe closer to 40, but like people that showed up every day, we had close to 30 people showing up every day. We were bringing classes of people anywhere from 6 to 10 people. So, when you put that over a 4-year period, that's somewhere around 30 plus people. We were bringing in some really good sailors like Telmo, Alfonso, Andre, Stefan, tons of other people that really, really just brought the level up.
How did it feel like leading this small and herd team? Did you ever had doubts about coming here before it got to this level?
I don't think I
Before
had
senior year?
doubts. You know, coming into college sailing, I didn't really even know what it was. You know, I knew high school sailing. I didn't sort of know the whole layout of college sailing really until my junior and senior year. But I wouldn't say I had doubts. It was always a grind, and it was always trying to prove ourselves that, you know, we were this. I want to be politically incorrect when I say this, the ugly redheaded stepchild or whatever people say, you know. But it was, yeah, we were always trying to prove ourselves that we weren't just some other team that somehow got to this regatta or whatever. And I think we've proven over the years that Jacksonville sailing is a real program, and we're not going anywhere. So
I think the beauty of it is that we were in the years where we were truly the underdogs.
yeah,
Or we go to a regatta and they
we're always
look at
the
us.
underdog. Yeah,
Yeah, they look at us and they're like, "Who are these people?"
yeah,
And then I think that's the best feeling, is being able to accomplish everything we accomplish just by being the underdogs.
yeah, yeah. So I wouldn't say that I had doubts, but definitely, you know, I'm not afraid to say I had insecurities about it. You know, it was tough showing up to these big regattas with all these big name schools, Yale and, you know, Georgetown, Boston College. You can keep going, MIT. You can keep going down the list, all the Mesa and NISA schools. But it was mentally difficult, but that's what it was all about. So it was fun.
We could even say a little bit intimidating.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
When
Yeah.
you
That's a good
show
way to
up
put
there.
it. Yeah, that's a good, yeah.
What were your proudest moments? We just asked Telmo what
Yeah.
were his proudest moments, but what were your proudest moments, Danny?
Telmo's class and Telmo's time here, they had a lot of awesome results to put up. And other than us breaking into the voted top 20 team, I can't really say that there was any like specific moment, but being able to leave and knowing that this team progressed the 4 years that I was here, that's probably my proudest moment, is to know that I was a part of and I helped with so many other people build the team to what it was, you know, today. And also just like, you know, that moment when I was, it was really hard to graduate. It was a tough moment because I was like, there's so much more I want to do, right? But you only get so much time to compete in college. So
What were your favorite memories from time at JU, sailing and non-sailing wise?
yeah,
That stand out.
I think my wife and a few other people have pointed out to me that it's sort of unique that some of my best friends in life are people from JU. Some of them are on the sailing team that I was on the sailing team with, and some of them were not, you know, that's probably the base of it, is that, you know, I still keep up with all these people, but for a specific moment, hard to nail down. But I always lived with non-sailing people, which I think was good because I think I traveled every weekend we had an event for almost 4 years that I was here. So being able to live with and live around people that weren't involved with sailing, I think was good because it gave me a little break. It's crazy. You can't do this anymore in Neptune Beach in Jacksonville. My favorite time was at an apartment on Cherry Street, and it was a block from the beach. And it was the corner of Cherry Street and Ocean Avenue. And that was the Yellow Card song that, I think it was Yellow Card. I don't know that song. But that was the best year of my college time, was living out there at the beach with my buddies. And we had the sailing team come out all the time and hang out. We were a block from the beach. I mean, we paid nothing in rent. You can't, it's just been so developed now. It's like I look back and think, man, we were so lucky to have that opportunity to do that. It was really fun.
And what year was that? Like 2000?
2016 was the fall, and 2017 I graduated. Yeah.
Oh man, I wish we could rent out houses at the beach now.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's what you mentioned. It's crazy how fast Jacksonville is.
Yeah, it's
developed.
growing. Just
All the business coming in, all the stuff going on. It's just
investors buying everything up. So
really cool to watch. really unfortunate for us that are broke college students that can't go to the beach.
If I could have bought that 5 years ago.
Yeah. My year, we instead of moving by the beach, we moved to Merrill Road.
Yeah. I used to our first house was in Arlington or close to Arlington, but
No, it was awesome. Is what you were mentioning. It's
Yeah.
such a good experience to live
Yeah.
out there. We were living in a 3-story house
yeah.
with 7 people in it. And it was
The house I lived in?
No, the house I lived.
Oh, the house you lived in. Yeah, yeah. You
was
got to do
awesome.
the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great time, and that feeling of you become a little bit independent,
Yeah.
but because you're dividing a house with 7 people, you can actually splurge a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like a bigger house. It was awesome. It was the best year. Maryland is known for being a little bit on the sketchy side, but we were living in a pretty nice neighborhood tucked in on the side. And it was awesome. The neighborhood was also shaped like a circuit. So we bought a go-kart and we went around.
Awesome.
It was a good time.
And you both already mentioned that this feels like a family. Our sailing team feels like a family. And John talks about it as well, that this is a one big family. And you, Danny, famously have married to former assistant coach and
That's
now
the special
director
question.
of admissions, Julia.
Yep.
Hi, Julia, if you're listening to this. Tell us more about that. How did that happen?
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. So Julia and I actually know each other. I met Julia when I was in 8th grade. I was on at that time, I went to a public school called Penfield, and I started a sailing team so that I could come sail with John with this, I mentioned earlier, he brought in all these teams and he had 4 people minimum to have a sailing team, right? And started that, and he was pressuring me to go to Mercy or to go to McQuaid, and I eventually wound up doing that, which was a private school, and they already had a really established program sailing team with like 20, 30 kids. It was pretty awesome. But anyways, Julia went to Mercy, which was the sister school, and we were the only at the time high school program that had the ability to have 2 schools as part of one team. We were the Mercy McQuaid sailing team because we were all boys and they were all girls. So Julia went there. I was at McQuaid. She had graduated, I think, by the time I actually got there. But at my time sailing for Penfield there is when we got to know each other. She went to ODU, I went to JU, and then John hired Julia, I think, my sophomore year. And then I had a broken arm. I broke my arm the fall of my sophomore year.
How did you break your arm?
Skateboarding. And I think that was like one of the last times I really I was like, okay, I'm done skateboarding.
Here at JU?
Yeah, there's a park out in Atlantic Beach. Anyone listening is a skateboarder. It's it's been in a few video games, the Atlantic Beach Bowl. It's pretty awesome. But the first time my buddy Peter Hidley, who was also on the same team, was like, dude, just roll in right here. I've watched you done it 100 times. So we used to skate all the time in Rochester. He was also from Rochester, and dropped in, fell flat on my face arm. And I was like, oh, my wrist kind of hurts. We skated the whole day, came back the next day, skated the whole day. And then a couple days later, I was like, I can't really move my hand. Anyways, long story short, I wound up breaking it. I had to have the whole surgery done and everything. And so I missed the fall. That was, I think, the fall Julia came. That was just sort of like when we got to sort of be around each other again. And obviously she was my coach for years. And after I graduated, we were both working in Rochester at the Rochester Yacht Club. We both wound up there coaching. And that's sort of when we started dating, I guess.
Did you both plan to go to Rochester, or it just happened accidentally?
It was kind of a mix, I guess. I mean, I always was going to Rochester, and she also coached at Rochester growing up. So we both were always going there. And that was, I think, the first summer she came back to Rochester. So kind of just worked out that way. And then when we both came back to JU, she came back and moved into admissions. She was started as an admissions counselor, and I sort of took her spot as the assistant coach. And then that's the rest is history, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. We dated for 5 or 6 years and we got married last October.
Didn't get invited to the wedding.
Yeah, I still feel bad about that.
How did that happen?
If the wedding was next October, Telmo would be there. It's just, there was a weird gap there. I wasn't even living around here. So, yeah.
I hope that didn't break your heart, Telmo.
It did, but it gave me a great opportunity to tell him that every week.
Yeah, I get a lot of flack for it, so it's all right.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but one time when we were driving back from competition and I asked John how did he start the sailing team, and he long story short, we got to the part where he hired Julia, and he said at that moment that he have told you
I was just about to bring that up. I said, wait, there's something I missed. John told me when he hired Julia, he said, Danny, I just hired your future wife. And I said, honestly, at the time, I was like, what are you talking about? Like, it's just Julia, like my good friend Julia. Like, we were always just like good friends growing up in sailing. And I guess he was right. So
I heard that he told that story at your wedding.
yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Had to get that story out. It was a good story though. It was.
I think John should be assisting some kind of dating shows or something.
Yeah.
I mean, he has an eye.
Don't give him that like affirmation that he is like the matchmaker.
But he's so good at it. That's the problem, you know?
John, if you're listening to this, and I hope you are, we appreciate your knowledge and
We
seeing
do.
that in people, but please do not take your career as
Yeah, we like you as the
As
head
a
coach.
as a sailing coach. Yeah.
Yeah.
But back to sailing, the team has come so far in the past 10 years. What would you like to see happen in the next 10 years, Dan?
I want to see him win the co-ed nationals and win a team race nationals. And Charlotte won us our first single-handed. You know, I could sit here and say co-ed, team race, match race, but I think, you know, between team racing and co-ed, to snag a first place would be amazing, just to show that Jacksonville is here and we can be on top.
And how do you see that we can actually accomplish that?
It's a good question.
I think it's all based in motivation.
Yeah, it's you know, as coaches, you can only do so much. You know, we can recruit the best kids or try and recruit the best kids, and but if you look back, and I haven't done this study, but there are plenty of people who have won final divisions at these regattas who were not recruited by big, you know, who weren't anything. I don't mean to say like who weren't anything before college and sailing, but they weren't, you know, they weren't winning Club 420 or I-420 North Americans or Worlds or laser, all these laser regattas, US champs and all that stuff. So anyone can do it. A lot of people can do it. I think it comes a lot from the motivation of the individuals within the team. And also, it's not just the individual, right? One person can have a dream or a goal, but if the rest of the team isn't pushing them to get to that level, the team won't have the resources or the opportunity to really make it happen.
What was the motivation for you both when you were sailing?
I was hungry. I mean, I just wanted to get better, but I think looking back, I'll say that I think I took a lot of it for granted. And that's sort of what I preach these kids now is don't take one single practice for granted, because you won't be able to do this again. Once you're gone out of college, you don't get to do this. You'll never be able to sail this much in your entire life after college.
For me, it was I had such a hard time when I came to the US. I wasn't able to like race in the competitions I wanted because I don't come from a very wealthy family, so I couldn't like travel to all these places.
Right.
So that was a really hard time getting into the schools, but I was still trying. And a lot of people told me, no. And you get such enjoy when you beat the people that told you no, and you look back and you smile and you say, good racing. That I think that's what really brought my fire out. So like, I want to prove to everyone that I can actually do it.
Yeah.
That I can actually perform at the top and I can actually do a good job. And also, the beauty of the team when I was here was that every single one of them was pushing each other. Everyone was like...
And that's what
hey,
you need.
Yeah.
You need a team that will push each other.
And
That's really important.
It didn't matter if it was the best one on the team or the worst one in the team. The worst person on the team came to you and was like, hey man, what was that mark Brandon?
Yeah.
How did you did that? And then you look at them and you're like, what do you mean? And they're like, well, instead of taking it like this, try this. And then you go and try it. And it's one of the things that John always says that I really, really enjoy is you are as strong as your weakest link. Meaning you are as good as the worst person in your team. And I think that's something that a lot of people take for granted. So like, oh, let's be selfish. Let me be the best one I can, but that never works on a team.
It's this is maybe a little off topic, but if anyone listening is a J24 sailor, there's a saying, I think it's a saying, I've done a lot of J24 sailing, is the team that usually wins a Worlds or a Nationals, and I'll first go back and say the twin guy on the J24, he just does the twings on the kite sheets and is sort of some, I don't know, people say it's just the twin guy, right? But it's the boat that wins those big regattas have the best twin guy.
Yeah.
Because I'm not saying the twin guy is the weakest link, but if everyone on the boat is stacked out that great, you're in pretty good shape. Yeah. So you got to have a really good group, a really good team, and it's not all about talent. It's about working hard and wanting that. So
it was kind of healthy pushing, your teammates forward. It was, hey, what's up? How can I help you? Let's do this better. Or
it depends on it depends on the mentality of the team at the time. We had this mentality where we hated, we like winning. Don't get me wrong. It was cool to win, but we hated the feeling of losing. We got into our minds that it didn't matter if we won, but we surely didn't want to lose.
Right. Yeah.
So I got to the point where, yes, we were pushing, and we were like, hey, like, let me help you on this, let me help you on that. I got to a certain point where there is always someone on the team where, like, I used to be that person that tried to slack on the sides or like fall a bunch of people, or I don't show up to workouts or stuff like that. And people that didn't race as well as what I was racing at the time came to me and they're like, hey man, you don't think it's unfair that I'm putting all this work and you are not, and you're getting to travel to all these events and doing all these things? And that really opened my mind to start working as a team. Yeah. And I think that's the most important part, is to believe that you are a part of a team,
right,
and to believe that everyone needs to get better as a unit, not just as an individual. How was your experience, Danny?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good way to put it. There was definitely some uncomfortable conversations that were had, with important people on the team that maybe got dragged in the direction of Greek life or surfing more than they wanted to go surfing more than sailing or whatever it was. And it was some uncomfortable conversations where it was like, hey, we really need you here. We really want you here. Can you try and be more a part of this? And sometimes it went well, and sometimes it was like, I'm here for a college experience, not just sailing. And that's some people's motive, which is fine, and that's great, because I look back at my college experience the first time I was there. I'm here again now, but my college experience was, I look back and all I remember is sailing, which I don't regret it, but I can understand why people on the team, they have other aspirations and motivations to be here. There's a lot more for them. So having those conversations as a captain or not a captain, as someone who is traveling all the time to these regattas, and having people ask you, I'm putting in more work than you maybe, but you get to go. It's like, well, that's great, because we need you. And without those people forming this team, the team wouldn't be here. So
we're changing the subject quite quickly, but as a coach, how long do you think you want to coach here?
Hopefully another 4 years.
Yeah, it's it kind of started as me just when I moved back down here, back to JU last January. I came here to go to school and wasn't coaching at JU last spring, and then some things opened up where John was looking for some more help, and I need to work in some form, and it's really hard to get away from the team, from coaching sailing in general and sailing. I was sailing a lot before that, like a lot. I was sailing, I don't know, 2 weekends a month, which for college sailors is like, oh, that's nothing, but
for real life.
Yeah, but for real life afterwards, was a lot. So I got back involved with it, and I'm really loving it. And the goal for me is to finish this degree and then get back into the real world, as college coaches like to, or sailing coaches like to say it. So I don't know, because it all depends on how long it takes me to finish this. I could be done in 3 semesters, or I could stretch it out and focus more and try and be more of a help to the team and
Stretch it.
yeah, stretch it out. We'll see. But as long as John will have me, I'll be here until I'm like, okay, I got to go back in the world. And who knows, maybe I'll do that for 3 years and then I'll be back coaching some other team or this team. I don't know.
But when you say you want to go back into the real world, what exactly would you want to do? What
Oh,
would be
yeah.
like your
It's
initial
like, you know,
plan?
now that I'm going back to school, everyone's asking me that question again. And it's like a flashback to when I was a senior in high school. And I'm like, I don't know what I want to do when I grow up. I still don't know what I'm going to do when I grow up. You know, that's a really good question.
So I heard you have $1 million note on your phone.
Yeah.
What's that about?
Yeah, me and Peter Hidley, who was a classmate of mine on the sailing team here, we started it's a shared list, and it's called The First Million's the Hardest. And we just throw ideas. He was an engineering student too, so we just throw ideas into the list whenever we think of something. Normally it's probably when I've had a couple drinks and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is an amazing idea. And I but yeah, so what I want to do when I'm, you know, to grow up, I don't know. I really like working with my hands. I really like designing and building things. So I'm really obviously obsessed with aero and hydrodynamics, as hopefully most sailors are, people who sail through and after college. That's really what it starts to come down to, is how to make that boat go the fastest. No, I don't want to become a boat builder, because before I came back to school, I was in the marine industry, and everyone's like, oh, you gotta go get your engineering degree and become a boat builder. And I was like, I hope not, because engineers probably is the lowest paying engineer.
Yeah, I done boat building for a little bit. It's tough.
And I'm not knocking boat builders. I mean, that's why we're all here. We love the boat builders, and it's great. But I don't know, aerospace, something, designing, building. I like to get my hands dirty sometimes, not all the time, but we'll see. We'll see where it takes me, I guess. It always seems to work out.
I bet it's going to be something good, because the more I know Danny, the more I get to see him working. And when we go down to the boats, I always make like little messes. He's such a perfectionist.
That's my biggest weakness, I think.
I know, it's the best
corny
part.
to say, but
It's the best part. We have these FJs. We're getting new ones, but these ones, they've been here for how long now?
Well, they're 2005 boats we got from Eckerd, and we got them when I was sophomore, I think. Yeah, I think we got them like maybe sophomore spring or something. We had them for my last 2 years, I think.
2005, you said,
2005.
Right?
Yeah, they're 20 years old almost.
Almost 20 years old FJs.
Vanguards. Those things are rock solid.
Oh, they work so well.
Yeah, they're great boats.
And Danny, during the winter break, what he wanted to do was to sand them, do fiberglass repairs on them that I highly agree with, and we started doing them. But he also wanted to polish them. He wanted to make them the nicest Vanguard FJs out there. I was really, really impressed.
And how many boats did we get through?
We got from a couple, you know.
We got through 3 out of the 12. I was like, oh, we'll get through 6 of them.
Yeah.
No.
But the ones we got through is because how perfectionist he was, and they look awesome right now. So that was a really, really cool experience. Really cool project that we went through this winter.
Yeah, we'll do some more in May. Don't worry.
Oh, yeah. I'm really excited about it.
Last question of today. I want to ask you both, when you were sailing for JAX Sailing Team, what was your ritual preparing process for races, for competitions? How did you get yourself pumped up, motivate yourself?
Yeah, I'll start. You listed a few things here: listen to music, meditate, go for a run, and I think I've done all of them. I did some regattas where I was like, okay, we have to launch at 9:15. I'm gonna start my run at 8:45, and I'm gonna run for 30 minutes. And I've done the meditation. That was probably the least effective, but that's, I don't know, there's some ADHD going on in here that I've been dealing with for a while. But listening to music, probably between that and a run are really good. I think it gets everything opened up and your head focusing. But I think really the biggest thing for me, I think one of the best college regattas I had, and also I raced Lightnings for a while, was making sure everything was prepared the night before, and then that morning was sort of a relaxation time. We had some people on the team, I'm not going to name names, who were so obsessed with weather forecasts and all these other things. But with college sailing, the courses are so short. I was we don't know what it's going to be until we get there. And so I was really focused on, I woke up at 6 a.m. We weren't leaving the house till, I don't know, 8:30. And I would make my breakfast, hang out, have a cup of coffee, watch Parks and Rec, watch The Office. Like I was just trying to just not really think, not get too worked up about what this whole weekend was going to be. Right. So that was really, I think, and I've done that a few times, and that's when I can get in that mental state where I am just like thinking about something else, and then I get to the boat and I know everything's ready to go and I feel prepared, and you go out there and then it's game on, right? That's, I think, been a good success for me.
And what about you, Telmo?
I try everything as well.
Yeah,
I
it's
try
hard.
running, I try
Yeah.
music. Actually, I had some big changes. So my ritual before going out to the water is pretty similar to my day to day. I don't have any problems. I just like probably wake up at 8:25 if we're leaving at 8:30. John gets upset. I'm like, oh, John, I'm Spanish, man. We're always late. No, that was joking. I normally wake up at
9 a.m. means 10.
7:30 more or less, take a shower, cup of coffee. I also don't look at the weather forecast. So the races are so short that there's no need. It's just
Yeah,
more in the
specifically
moment.
for college, right?
Yeah,
It's
for
sort of
college.
Like, yeah.
When I'm doing a bigger event, of course, I look at the
Yeah.
forecast and I look if it's going to
Look at the
shift.
forecast, get an
Yeah.
idea of it. I guess in college I did the same thing. You get an idea of it, but like I'm not looking at when the wind's going to shift right throughout the day.
No, because
stuff
you,
like that.
you can see it there. They're like
Yeah.
15 to 18-minute races. It's
Yeah.
really, really quick. And that being a W4. So like up, down.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of racing in a really short course. But one thing I used to do from my freshman year and my sophomore year is like, I need to get pumped. Let me listen to rock. Let me listen to all these things. Well, that obviously didn't work. I used to go listen to all this like heavy music. Went to the water. I was stressed out already. And then to help me calm down from the stress, I used to stick my head on the water.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Really weird.
Shake it out.
Yeah, but it never worked. It put me on a state where I was calm and collected, but it never put me on the state that I wanted to be. And I talked to John a lot about this, and John told me to go to talk to the sports psychologist here on campus. Shout out to
I did
Dr.
that
Man.
for a little bit too.
Yeah.
I heard that, yeah.
He's awesome. I talked to him for like 3 years. Great guy, helped me a lot in my sailing, and we talk about his family and all this. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But one thing John told me is like, hey man, you are the same as me. You are always like fire, always like trying to do all these things. Why you don't do the same thing I do every time I start a race? I'm like, what's that, John? Like, well, I first listen to some calm music before I go to the water. So I started listening to like classic music and like really like smooth jazz and stuff like that to get me like in the mood. And then I do all my pre-start homework on the line. And by the time the gun goes to 3, I am sitting between the gates, in the middle of the gates, and between the boat and the pen. And I close my eyes, take 3 deep breaths, and then tap 3 times on the tiller of my hand. And then it's game on. Ever since I started doing that, races have been amazing. Like it just gets me on this focus area that the only thing that matters is the race. Nothing that is going around matters. It's just where is the first shift, how I can get there the fastest. Let's go sailing. And it's awesome.
Yeah. That's the great thing about sailing, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's like when you're in the race, there's nothing else in the world that
Nothing.
can take
It's
over.
awesome.
Yeah.
And it's such a good feeling. And then the after racing, when you're with all these great people, I think that's my favorite part
Yeah.
about racing is
Yeah,
the
that's
community.
Well, on this beautiful note, beautiful ending, we have come to the end of the podcast. And thank you for listening to our podcast. This was episode 4 of JAX Sailing Team's Dolphin podcast. And thank you to Danny and Telmo, who joined us today in the studio. And on behalf of Dunja and I, we want to wish you an amazing week. Sail fast and see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank
you,
you.
guys.